What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and I'm here to bring you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe once again. If you guys remember, about a week or so ago, we did 40 facts on one of the characters of the Blood Ravens, the Librarian known as Rhamah. Now, I did as much information as I could find online, but apparently there was oh so much more. So one of our subscribers by the name of Simon has sent me more lore on this epic librarian, so here are 40 more facts on Rhamah of the Blood Ravens. The Blood Ravens were en route to reinforce their embattled brothers, and they were in a race against the Eldar to reach Lorne. During this warp flight, one of the litany's astropaths became possessed by a horror from the warp, and he broke free to wreak havoc aboard the battle barge. At the time, a young neophyte was undergoing the holy implantation of his gene seed inside the sacred implantation chamber aboard the Litany of Fury. With warp horrors loose aboard their flagship, the implantation chamber was immediately locked down, and the ship master, Ortinus, dispatched the Ninth Company's librarians in a detachment of Devastator Marines to stand guard over the Gene Seed Vault and the implantation chamber, as the Blood Ravens could not afford to drop out of the warp. Librarian Cornith, Librarian Zaphael, and Librarian Rhamah took their positions in front of the door to the implantation chamber. The walls ahead of the implantation chamber trembled and appeared to melt and run as horrific forms attempted to pour themselves fully into existence, and they began to attack the Blood Ravens Zaphael, Cornith, and then the Devastators attacked back. Cornith's Force Staff blasted out energy, while Zaphael's Force Axe hacked through demonic tentacles as the power of the warp closed in around them. Father Librarian Rhamah stayed planted before the doors to the implantation chamber. Brilliant cracks of energy flashed out from his hands and from the amplifier modules in his hood, lashing out against the demonic incursion and bringing it to a standstill. The corridor in front of the implantation chamber was alive with purple fire and the crackling energy discharge that lashed out of the librarian's palms. Zaphael was an inferno of motion, his force axe slicing through the reaching warp tentacles as Cornith spun his force staff, sending out gouts of flame and power into the warp tendrils, which shriveled and withdrew. Father Rhamah remained implacable in front of the heavy armored doors to the chamber itself, blue fire dancing across his hood and leaping from his fingertips. As they fought, tendrils of power started to flow along the floor, like burning purple veins. They flowed down the passageway under the boots of the Devastator Marines, heading for the doors at the end of the corridor, before which stood the magnificent figure of Rhamah, alive with the psychic power of his own. The veins of demonic warp power began to wrap around the feet of the Devastators, rooting them to the deck. After a few seconds, both Cornith and Zaphael noticed this flow of demonic power along the floor, which had effectively immobilized the Devastators, and began to pool in front of the doors to the implantation chambers. Great sheets of energy poured out of Rhamah, gushing down into the floor and forming a pool of power that held back the demonic flow. But the pool of raw warp energy that was collecting in front of Rhamah was already too big. It was flooding across the floor like an oil slick, and from its heart there reached arms and talons, as though if it were a doorway into the warp itself. The waves of the pool lapped out towards Rhamah, who was still unmoving on its coast, a mighty breakwater bearing its progress towards the implantation chamber. Psychic lashes flashed from his fingertips and hood, holding back the tide of chaos with pure strength of will, but the pool was still growing and edging closer at every passing second. The Devastators saw the danger, but they were trapped as they could not reach the Librarian. Zaphael and Cornith stormed down the corridor towards Rhamah, but they both realized they were too far away. Rhamah was ablaze with psychic brilliance, like a mighty angel standing guardian before the doors of the immolation chamber. His arms were held out to his side, and his eyes blazed with unearthly power, as blinding blue energy crashed down into the demonic pool at his feet. As far as I could tell, the Librarian had still not moved his boots from the original position which he held steadfast. As the eyes of the entire squad fell upon Rhamah, he looked up to check on his brother's proximity. They were charging towards him, but they were seconds away. Rhamah made a choice. He reached out for the ornate sword holstered on his back, and he drew it free. He flipped it in his hand until it was pointed down in front of him, and clasped it with both hands. With a flicker, Rhamah's psychic onslaught ceased, and immediately the pool of warp power surged forwards. Roaring defiance, Rhamah drove his blade down into the pool of warp energy and through the deck plating below. A tremendous, blinding explosion of light blasted through the corridor, knocking both Cornith and Zaphael off of their feet as they ran. They looked up, and they saw the radiant figure of Father Librarian Rhamah on one knee, his hand still clasped around the hilt of his sword. The demonic pool raged and bubbled around him, malformed arms reaching out to grasp at the librarian's limb. But finally, Rhamah stood and pulled clear his sword, holding it to the touch of the blade to his forehead in a final salute to his brothers. And then he vanished, yanked down through the pool itself, dragging the tendrils and reaching limbs of demonic forces with him, and the veins of power seemed to be sucked in after him, like matter into a vacuum, leaving the corridor quiet and immaculately clean once again. So his sacrifice saved his brother to become a blood raven. But what happened to him? So in order to find out what happened to Master Librarian Rhamah, please check out 40 Facts on Rhamah, which I guess is part 1 to this part 2. So it's out of order, guys, but at least the lore is there. I'll link it in the description below, and I'll also link it at the end of the video so you can go back and find out what happened to this awesome librarian. Once again, a big thank you to Simon for giving me this lore. It's pretty epic what librarians can do. They got a ton of powers, and it's awesome. Like, just seeing this guy do this much work, imagine what the Emperor was capable of. This guy was literally the best of the Blood Ravens, and he did pretty badass. Now, if you guys also want to read the full story, I believe it is Dawn of War books 2 and 3 where all this information is. So you guys can read the whole story there. Now, I have a question for you guys. So with librarians and psychic powers and all that, do you guys feel like the psychic powers, the abilities, is it more like witchcraft? Like, does it have like that satanic feel to it? Is it like dark magic, voodoo, that kind of stuff? Or do you guys see librarians as like more magical, like Harry Potter, sorcerers, that kind of stuff? Because I feel like psychic abilities, it could go either way. I know 40k is supposed to be grim dark, so that's why I'm kind of going more towards like the dark arts, you know, voodoo, satanic rituals and all that. Because they do have like witch hunters in the Inquisition and stuff, but are psychic powers more like sorcerers, for example, Rhamah and Zeech and all that? But they do deal with demons, so again, is it like satanic rituals, voodoo, witchcraft? I don't know. I always thought about this in the sense of it being more sorceress, more like not dark, kind of more light, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. And then that also begs the question. So if it is all sorcery and witchcraft, are the Grey Knights truly pure, truly, you know, lights in the darkness? Again, it begs the question, you know, are they really as pure as they say they are? Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for this video here. Once again, this is like the 3rd time. Thanks, Simon, for this information that you sent me. Really badass. Really gave me a new outlook on Rhamah, the librarian of the Raven Guard. Don't forget, guys, we've had a bunch of giveaways, so make sure to watch all the videos so you guys can figure out who won what. And then eventually we will be giving out Gilliman, so keep on commenting and liking videos for your chance to win him. He is an awesome character, kind of slow, but an awesome character nonetheless. Please check out our Facebook page where we give out giveaways, post reviews, post leaks and all that stuff. We've got Instagram and Twitter, where it's basically like an update kind of thing, you know, put a few things here, a few pictures there. some giveaways here and there. And then we have our Patreon page, which we do creepypastas there first, and then they go on to YouTube. We also do secret giveaways there, and then we do For the Greater Walls, which for that one, we answer each and every one of your questions. So if you become a patron for only $1 a month, you'll get your questions asked for sure. And that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you for staying this late into the video, for me blabbering and murmuring, and I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But thanks again, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you guys can get more 40k action. As always, I am the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I am signing out.